All right. Unfortunately, Matt Walsh has demonstrated the actual impact of spreading hatred on the internet. He posted on Twitter a few tweets this week about transgender healthcare that had some consequences. Let's look at this first tweet. He is promoting a podcast episode, and he says, "We investigated our local hospital's gender butchery clinic. Here's what we found, episode 1025." And he posts the link to the podcast. And then he says, "I provided video evidence that Vanderbilt, that's the hospital, is performing gender affirming double mastectomies on minors, a fact beyond dispute. They are also giving chemical castration drugs and irreversible hormones to children, another fact beyond dispute and supported by documentation." Marjorie Taylor Greene jumped in with a pretty big tweet saying ESG and wokeness are killing the Democrats, but the left's trans kid agenda is the nail in their coffin. Parents will protect their children with their lives and will ditch a political party in a heartbeat when that party comes after their kids. Remember, Virginia. And so these actions, which were really just thumbs moving on a phone screen to post these tweets, had consequences. So, reporting from Vice News, one day after notorious right-wing figure Matt Walsh tweeted about a Tennessee clinic that provides critical care for trans patients, the hospital removed several pages about that care from its site, an outcome that risks making it even more difficult for trans people to access health care. And shortly after Matt Walsh posted this tweet with a link, "I'm begging left-wingers to get another hobby besides castrating children." After this, the Vanderbilt Clinic for Transgender Health at Vanderbilt University website was taken down. A 404, "This page cannot be found" error in its place. A quote from Ari Drennan, "Many of these hospitals treat patients who live many hours away. It can be hard to find hospitals who provide good treatment options, so it's very important for information about procedures that are offered to be accessible, so potential patients who are considering those procedures and for whom those procedures are medically necessary." And it's important to say that it's not just Vanderbilt, it's other hospitals as well. This happened in Ohio this week. Akron Children's Hospital in Ohio removed information about trans care from its site, including information about healthcare providers shortly after being targeted. In-person support group meetings for trans youth were canceled at Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago because of security risks. So is this freedom? Is what the right is fighting for really worthwhile? I don't think so. They are hating on such a small population of people in the country. You know, people should be allowed to live their lives however they want to. That's their personal freedom of choice. And they're deciding to make our political discourse about people who make up 0.5% of the population. So here's a statistic from UCLA Williams Institute. Among U.S. adults, 0.5%, about 1.3 million adults identify as transgender. Among youth ages 13 to 17 in the U.S., 1.4%, so about 300,000 youth identify as transgender. And Matt is making this the whole body of his political discourse right now. Look at his Twitter header. This is his profile on Twitter. His background is, "What is a woman?" And if you look at his bio, he identifies as a theocratic fascist. That is an accurate description of who he is as a person. Cenk, what do you make of Mr. Walsh?
Okay, look, guys, get a sense of how terrible a human being he is. So he said the same thing about Boston Children's Hospital. Almost everything he says is a lie. And so when he says it's a fact, by the way, these hospitals, can you please fight back? I get it. You guys are not in politics, and you probably watch mainstream media, so you probably think the right wing is, the same as the left wing. I can't tell the difference. No. They're coming for you. They do these insane things. If you keep cowering and you keep running from them, they're going to be further enabled. If he says something is a fact about you and your hospital, and it is not a fact, you should sue him. That's how it works. And instead, when you run, it enables him. It encourages him. For God's sake, look at what they did to Alex Jones by suing him. Because in a court of law, you have to present facts. Look at what's happening to Donald Trump in a court of law. He lost 60 cases in a row on the elections because he didn't have any goddamn evidence. And now he's like, "I want a special master." And he has to go into court. And he's like, "I don't know what I'm saying. do I need evidence here? Looks like an idiot, right? Matt Walsh gets to say all these things because nobody ever pushes back. So now, but of course you do that legally, right? Rhetorically. But Matt Walsh sees that people are doing it not rhetorically. Last time he targeted the Boston Children's Hospital, there was a bomb threat, and people were scared to death of the nurses, the doctors, etc., but also the kids. They might have had to take the kids out of the hospital. It endangers the kids' lives when you do things like that. And why did the person call in a bomb threat? Why was there nonstop death threats? And now Vanderbilt's getting those same threats. Why? Because Matt Walsh literally said that's the hospital, and they're chopping up kids, they're mutilating them, and all these hyperbole that he uses. And we just read you the hyperbole, so you know what it is as verbatim what Jessica read, right? Then he sees, oh, that led to a bomb threat, that led to potential violence, that led to death threats. And then he does it again. See, that's the part where it's not, hey, man, I didn't know they were going to do that. It could happen. It could be one guy. And, you can't control everybody. Maybe it's even 2 or 3 guys and you can't control. But like dozens of people do the death threats, etc. And then you think, oh, that was good. And they got a bomb threat and they were all scared for their lives. He doesn't think, oh, maybe I should reconsider that tactic. That seems to be getting a result I don't want, which is threats of physical violence. No, he thinks that's a tactic that worked. It got me attention. First of all, who cares about anybody's life or safety? I'm going to go make some cash, okay? And then on top of that, oh, it made them feel scared for their lives. Excellent. Let's do that lie over and over and over and over again and endanger all those kids. And look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's lie. She's like, oh, they're coming after your kids. Who's they? And what do you mean they're coming after the kids? Everyone that goes to these hospitals, there is no operation allowed in America for under 18-year-olds to change your gender. There's the genital operations they're talking about is for under 18-year-olds. It's a lie. It's an unmitigated lie. It does not exist. The right wing is enabled by our awful, awful press to lie nonstop because there's no consequences. No matter what happens, the press calls everything 50-50. And when they see a right winger, they get down on their knees and kiss their ass. Call people what they are. He's a grotesque liar trying to obviously foment violence. He sees the violence and he goes, good, again and again and again. God damn it, somebody's got to fight back politically, legally, and rhetorically. And so he's putting people's lives in danger. And what are they? Their response is take the information down. Perfectly legal, helpful information. Stop running from these bastards. And for God's sake, somebody fight back.
Yeah, I would offer that the reason the hospitals did not fight back is because when you're running a hospital with a profit motive, your number one concern is bringing in as many patients as possible. Security risks are a threat to that. And also having people show up protesting at the hospital is a threat to that. If you actually cared about the patients and giving them good treatment, you maybe would have taken this more seriously and fought back against Matt Walsh. Maybe you would have sued. Maybe you would have released a statement defending the patients you treat there that are transgender. But I think the reason we see the right focusing so much on transgender issues, despite these folks making such a small proportion of the population, their decision to be transgender doesn't hurt anyone else at all. And if we believe in personal freedom of choice, they should be able to live their lives however they choose, even if you really would choose to live your life differently and wouldn't be happy if you were in their shoes. You're not in their shoes. You can live your life however you want. That's what freedom is. And because they are so focused on traditional Christian values and having a Christian state, they're making this a much bigger issue. But think about how people are living every day in America. People are struggling to pay bills. They're struggling to afford rent. Matt Walsh is not having conversations about the issues that affect people's everyday lives, and he's instead talking about this. I think there's also one last thing at play here, not to psychoanalyze Matt Walsh, but I think it's necessary. I think guys like this get so much of their value from the patriarchy, right? Matt Walsh isn't an exceptional individual, right? He's a white guy. He's had a lot of privilege and a lot of success, and he gets so much of his personal value from just, being this white guy who talks into a camera. And so the idea of deconstructing gender norms jeopardizes his position of privilege. He gets a lot of value from being a traditional man. And so if gender's not real, who am I as Matt Walsh? I think that's really the reason these folks are so reactionary about transgender issues. It is because they're weak. It is not because transgender people are a problem for living their life however they see fit.
Yeah, last couple of things here. First, to finish the thought about Marjorie Taylor Greene, she made it seem like they were kidnapping kids and forcing them into therapy or these treatments or whatever. That's nonsense. Every person that goes to that hospital is accompanied by their parents, and their parents have made that decision. It's the right wing that's coming in and saying, parents, we hate you. We don't trust you. We don't think you should get to make the decisions. We think big government should make those personal family decisions for you guys. Now, that's a fact. They don't say to anybody, Vanderbilt, Boston, all these other hospitals, it's not like they're going around going, hey, there's a kid right there in the park. Let's go snatch him up without asking their parents and do these surgery. What? That's what they make it seem like. Oh, they're coming after your kids. No, every single parent that has gone to those hospitals for any kind of help, not the surgery, for any kind of help, has voluntarily gone to the hospital. They're asking them, can you please help me and my kids? But they make it seem like it's the opposite. They're just unbelievable liars. But last thing is that there's now a cottage industry that profits off of hate. And Matt Walsh is one of its participants. So they see that hate is a product. And the more hate they put into the world, the more they get paid. And so they think, oh, this is working out really nicely. Oh, people are going to get hurt, bomb threats, etc. Who cares? I'm making money here. Look, a lot of people get hurt from profit industries. The oil companies are totally destroying the planet. The tobacco companies kill you for a living. And we can go on and on. The drug companies, they'll charge you so much you can't afford it, and then you'll die without their drugs. So here, let me have my little piece of the pie here. I just create hate. I put it out in the world. The mainstream media schmucks don't even fight back. The Democrats don't fight back. And I make tons of money from giving some people what they want. And a lot of right-wingers do want it. They want that hate. That's why they pay Matt Walsh to get that hate. So that's who they are. They're the immoral party in this country, the Republicans. The right wing is significantly more immoral than the rest of us. And so when they see someone selling hate, they're like, can't wait to buy more of it. And that's why the Matt Walshes and the Daily Wires and all the right-wing media outlets are successful, because that's what they're selling. Unfortunately, there's a big market for it.
Yeah, it's like when Donald Trump ran in 2016, we really saw demagoguery take hold. He weaponized people's hatred, or really weaponized their fear about what they were going through in the country, about cultural changes, their fear about economic instability, and turned that fear into hatred. And now he's created this beast that needs to be fed hate constantly. And we're in this race, this arms race of who can weaponize that hatred more, who can get more people to listen to their hatred and turn it into action or votes. It's the same thing that's going on between the disputes between DeSantis and Donald Trump. And it's exactly why we see DeSantis becoming more and more far right. It's because it's this who can out-hate each other. That's what politics has become in our country. And then we have the Democrats, which are doing near nothing to fight the uprise of fascism in the country. And we really need a popular movement of people who are rejecting both of these views. But unfortunately, we have a lack of leadership in American politics right now because it's been run by corporations for all too long. And we're lucky to have leaders like Bernie Sanders. And I think that's why so many people are worried about 2024, because we know we can't run Joe Biden again against this. Unfortunately, the hate factory is running all too strong. And they've got people in the media like Matt Walsh fighting for them. And then the Democrats have what? MSNBC and Meet the Press. Great.